All right, so you are for or against capital punishment?
I'm for capital punishment.
All right, so did you know that between 1973 and 2004, around 340 prisoners who were wrongfully put to death under capital punishment were innocent?
I have heard similar statistics.
All right, and what are your thoughts about that?
I guess I would answer with a question. Is it better to kill the innocent or let the condemned run free?
That's very good, but also I'm pretty sure they keep them detained who are on death row, so they're not really running free.
If death row was done away with, then the condemned would either be filling up the prisons and the innocent would either be filling up the prisons. So I guess I don't see another way.
Okay, all right. Did you know that capital punishment is viewed as racially biased due to the fact that 77% of defendants have been executed for killing white people, and in 82% of studies, the race of the victim was found to influence the likelihood of being charged with capital punishment?
So I haven't heard. I'm definitely aware of racism and racial issues. I would say that is not capital punishment's fault. That would be a problem with the actual court systems.
All right.
I don't believe capital punishment's to blame here. I believe it's the actual justice and being non-biased in actual court of law.
Very good statement. All right, so did you know that states that enforce the death penalty, so states that say, okay, we're going to enforce the death penalty, have a higher homicide rate than states that do not? So states that don't have that enforce the death penalty have more homicides than states that don't enforce it.
That I didn't know, but I would follow up by asking, is that an actual statistic or is that coincidence?
It is an actual statistic.
Okay, so what is backing it?
I believe it's amnesty.com where we found it, and it gave us just multiple states, like some of the major states who supported it, some of the major states who did not, and it gave us percentages, and there was a higher percentage of homicides in the states that enforced it.
I believe that there's a lot more factors at play than just capital punishment. I don't believe that capital punishment is actually at all related. I believe that there should be a fuller review of all of the, not just of capital punishment, but the areas that the states are located in, the population, the races involved. Right. I don't think that fully shows the entire picture.
Okay. All right, and finally, capital punishment is widely viewed as cruel and unusual punishment due to the fact that, lethal injections are promoted as one of the easiest ways to go.
Right.
But in all actuality, they can last between 20 minutes and an hour for the person to die, and can be excruciatingly painful. Some prisoners have been seen gasping for air, grimacing, and convulsing during the execution. Also, autopsies have shown and found needles stuck in the skin and chemical burns that have been left on the skin.
So what is your question in that? Are you saying, did I know that fact?
Yes, did you know it, and does this change your view on whether or not it is humane?
I didn't know that, but I don't think it changes my view in that appealing to morals here. Again, my question, should the condemned be let to live, or should they be put to death? And I think a full review of it would show that it was unwise to spend America's dollars on keeping prisoners alive, condemned alive, that aren't, that have committed murders and other facts, and appealing to a biblical sense, a life for life, as it goes throughout the entire Old Testament. Yes, grace and mercy should definitely be shown, but in this case, I would say that if a murder is committed, then it should be completely, then the same punishment should be turned back on the condemned.
Okay.
And so that would be my view on it.
All right, thank you. So are you for or against capital punishment?
Against.
Okay. So did you know that most major religions call for the death penalty?
Okay.
And then are you aware that there are less painful ways for the criminal to be put to death, such as the electric chair, which shuts down the brain quickly, allowing them to feel no pain while dying. And then there's hanging, which snaps the neck immediately, instantly killing them.
Yes. Am I allowed to respond to you?
Yes,
Okay.
you can respond.
So, we were aware that America is one of the only civilized societies left in the world today that still uses capital punishment.
Yes. It's a very interesting fact. I like that fact. And then there's firing squads, which use high-powered rifles that completely destroy the heart, rendering the victim unconscious within seconds, allowing them to feel nothing. And then people might say that executions can go wrong, but the amount of executions that have gone wrong since 1976 have been 10 out of 1,328.
I would say that's 10 too many. 10 innocent lives taken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
I think it actually is 10. I believe they were guilty and actually guilty, but the execution, something went wrong with it.
Oh,
I believe that's what it
well,
is.
then there's a lot more than I was thinking. It was more than 10, but there's been lots of wrongful
Mhm.
executions, which is a big part of my research. A lot of people
Okay.
killed for a crime they didn't commit.
All right. And then using a panel data set over 3,000 counties from 1977 to 1996, professors from Emory University found that each execution on average resulted in 18 fewer murders. So every execution there was on average 18 fewer murders that were committed. And then last question, why should a murderer be given the chance to live even though they did not give their victim a chance to live?
Well, I think as Christians, we have to look at this through the lens of the gospel. I know we live in the South, so a lot of Christians just naturally associate themselves with republicanism, just because that's how it is. But we have to look at it through the eyes of the gospel, and that God says if you're guilty of one thing, you're guilty of all things. So if you have a struggle with lust or gossip, that's just the same as being guilty of murder. But the reason Christ came was to bring us grace and say, even though you deserve eternal death, he came to set us free. Just the fact that Jesus got the wrongful death penalty, looking at that fact, it's so why are Christians so in favor of the thing that wrong? Obviously he needed to die for our sins, but just looking at it through that lens, it's you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.